How's everyone doing?
We're doing well. We've been kicking around, Mac Jones's Week 1 performance and how we feel about it. How we feel about another loss where they don't come through in the fourth quarter. It looked better. I liked what I saw, and yet at the end of the day, even if the process was better, it was a similar result to what it's been the first 2 years with Mac Jones. How did you feel about Mac in Week 1?
I thought Mac played fantastic. Looked like, Mac is rookie year. I understand the disappointment of the loss. It's also the team that was one play away from losing the Super Bowl and went down 2+ scores early on in that game in inclement weather. So while winning and losing is the only thing that matters, the process of how to win also does matter. And so, for Mac, it was such a better distribution of the football, such a greater understanding of what he was doing with the ball, the timing, the trust of when it was coming out of his hands. Some of those throws, the Hunter Henry touchdown, both Bourne touchdowns, when he cuts it loose, and the belief, I thought Bill O'Brien was fantastic, shockingly, when it came to how he schemed things up and attacked Philadelphia a lot with their bunch concepts. We're getting into that a little bit on NFL Live today, too. So, the reality is this. It's a loss, no question about it. But if they can play that way for the majority of the games this year, they're gonna be significantly improved and better than people think. And they are 2 sideline, 1 inch away with a foot or a drag of a toe, 2 sideline throws away from maybe winning that game. And that's a lot to be kind of encouraged about.
Dan, this is kind of a natural question, I think, because of who the Patriots are facing this week in the Miami offense. Do you feel like Mac has enough of a supporting cast around him in terms of his weapons?
Not in relation to the dude he's about to play against, no. Does he have enough? No, he does not. He doesn't have enough in relation to, can we compete and score enough with enough firepower given everybody at the top of the conference other than maybe Kansas City in the totality of the group? Obviously, Patrick has Travis. But no, if we're just being candid, he's got good players. I'm not minimizing the guys that he has. And again, really encouraged by some of the young guys, Douglas and Boutte. But no, of course he doesn't. And it's unrealistic to think that he's going to be able to have and go haymaker for haymaker. Tua last week threw for 450 yards and scored 37. But he also went up against a team that had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, Quentin Johnson, a first-round pick, and Austin Eckler. So I don't think so. I think that realistically they're probably in the bottom 4 or bottom 5 when it comes to the skill position groups and talent in their conference. And so I think that speaks for itself.
There's this stat that's been going around the last couple of days that I think surfaced first during that game on Sunday against the Eagles, which is that the Patriots with Mac Jones have not been able to overcome a team when the other team scores 25 points or more. Would you say that has more to do with the quarterback play and the style of play, or the weapons that he has around him, just because you mentioned Tua being able to put up that many points against the Chargers?
Yeah, it's always both. It's never a singular one, but I certainly lean towards kind of the people that are around and the play calling. Let's just be very brutally honest. Okay, I try to do my job as honest as I can, but there's natural biases. I don't care what anyone says. Am I a fan of Mac Jones? 100%. Did I like him out of college, and did I think he should go 3 to San Francisco? 100%. Do I like the kid? I've met him 2 or 3 times. I like the kid. Who's the best? Who are the 3 best skill position people Mac has played with in his NFL career? Jacoby Myers?
Hunter Henry, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, something like that. Maybe we're leaving one out, but yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Okay. So the fact that there is even, in many ways, and I've said this, Mac is no question, it's indisputable, been set up to not do well. If we take the combination of the coaching and the people around. And if you mean to, my argument is always this, like if I took Mac Jones and I put him in Miami, is the national vantage point about Mac Jones incredibly different than it is? 100%. if I took Mac Jones, and I'll take even a lesser group because that might be the extreme example. Like if I took Mac Jones and I placed him on the New York Jets right now, the Jets are still a lock, bona fide Super Bowl contender because of Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson. So absolutely, he'd be perfect for them right now. No, it hasn't been good enough. And I think that's the charge is I hope that Mac plays for the majority of this season the way he did in week 1. And the kind of presumptive feeling is if we get the guy, the necessary people around him, he's going to be really good for a long time. And I feel strongly about that. I do.
All right, so Dan, you take the Patriots and Mac Jones, who you're encouraged by certainly after his first week. You take into account the fact that the Jets are going to be without Aaron Rodgers all season long. How much higher is the bar now for the Patriots maybe than it was before the season started in your mind?
Yeah, I am more encouraged, absolutely. I would have told you before the season started, I have them at 4th in the division, and by a pretty fair margin. Watching how well the defense played in week 1, I would say this. I have not seen Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, the 2 tacklers for Philadelphia. I don't know if I've ever seen them get pushed around the way that the big fellas up front, specifically Judon for New England, pushed those 2 tackles around. So the way that the defense played, I think we all thought they were going to be really good. Christian was awesome. I was really, really, again, encouraged and intrigued. Bill O'Brien did such a good job using Zeke in certain ways. They go down 14-0. I liked Zeke's usage. I thought Mike Gesicki was used in the right way. The bunch concepts that I kind of mentioned before were fantastic. They were close on a couple screens, obviously hit one later, really good with the times they went to play action. So I am intrigued with their offense, and I think their offense got a chance to be a little bit better than I initially thought. So how high is the bar? We know the division's phenomenal. I can't rule out Zach Wilson playing better football than he did last year. I'm not sitting here telling everyone he's going to become, Patrick, but seeing how poorly Buffalo played the other night, I have a little bit more concern with them than I did going into week 1. So they can contend. I think that they can contend in a lot of football games.
Just to be clear, contend for you maybe just answered it. Contend for a playoff spot, probably more so than a Super Bowl.
Than the East.
No.
Yeah, contend for a playoff spot. Contend for a spot.
I think so.
That's something.
So, yeah. Okay, no, that's definitely not nothing. That's really our low bar goal for the team this year. So let me ask you. I watched some of what you were doing. Breaking down plays and looking at the Dolphins' offense and the McDaniels scheme. I'm sure you're looking forward to Bill's scheme against the McDaniels scheme, which you said really has no answers. Man or zone, Tyreek Hill. Does Bill have answers for that defense? That offense, rather.
My guess is that Bill is going to pressure him and play a ton of that pass off cover 0 and try to force the ball out of his hands quickly and tackle really well in space. I think that he'll try to put hands on both Tyreek and Jaden at the line of scrimmage. The really interesting part is going to be how they match Miami's 21 personnel. Because if they're going to continue, it's week 1. If they, when they put Alec Ingold, that fullback on the field, it's kind of like how New England used to do it years ago. With who was the fullback from Navy? Gosh, I forget his name.
You're talking about Devlin. Devlin wasn't Navy, but you're talking about Devlin.
Yeah, Pat Devlin. I'm sorry, maybe not Navy or Army or one of those. I believe kind of forces schools. But when they put Ingold on the field and use him in such different ways, it forces defenses and it'll force Bill to figure out, okay, because they can still run it a little bit. So are we trying to keep big people on the field to slow the run a little bit? Are we trying to play in nickel so we have better coverage? Are we putting 3 safeties on the field? Where's Kyle going to play? My guess is he'll dare Miami to run the football way more than the Chargers did. Can Bill do it? Absolutely.